why you keep hitting the same wall and the system on how to break through that forever. You know, having worked with over 2,400 businesses, what I've known is that people get to a point that their individual brilliance caps out. They're kind of like, I'm done. And that they know they've done really well to get to where they are, but then they get stuck in a certain place. And it's generally speaking, the people who've got the academic background, the super smart people that have usually excelled and usually got a business that's certainly doing just under $2 million. That's in the pioneering phase. Problem is they get to a place that they have what we call Octopus Syndrome. And what remember Octopus Syndrome, there's one brain, there's lots of tentacles, and everything sucks. It's kind of the guru with 1,000 helpers model. And what we want to do is show you the system that we've proven now, over doing this for a decade, that can help you to break through that. So let's jump into it and have a look at why people get stuck and what it is that you can do to improve that. The first principle here is just to really understand that as the business is expanding, you're going to come through some very normal phases in the business where you're going to have some what we call pressure points, or better still, a zone. There's a zone that is going to be a lot of pressure on the business. Now, the part of this though, the human psychology, the friends, the family that are involved, that know you, even your team go, when there's pressure, what do? Most people go, oh, it's too hard, you're feeling stuff's going on, and you're feeling this tension, so you start to doubt yourself. And the problem with when you have doubt is that when you start to doubt yourself, there's an increase in what I'm going to call tension. There's tension. Am I doing the right thing? With all the existential overhead of all the things that you have to do in a business, running business, being in business, it gets pretty stressful. And the thing is, most people run away from that stress. The key with this is there's the pressure that creates a significant amount of tension. But from that there, we go to the next step. And the next step is really the step that helps you to go to the next level. And that is there's an evolution that happens. What I mean by that is that most people, when they look at the pressure, they think it's a negative and they go, oh, there's tension, I'm feeling bad. I got a headache, I'll take an aspirin. I'm feeling pain, I need to fix it, without going, actually, maybe there's some clues that are in this spot. And there is a big clue. And the big clue is this. The big clue is that with the pressure and the tension, the obstacle is the way. It is the pathway. And so what is actually required is an identity shift plus specific actions. And how the cycle works is really quite simple. And that is this, that from the pressure, we know that there's specific tensions that happen at different stages of business. That tension then gives us the clues on what we need to be doing for our next step. That helps us to evolve our identity. The identity then allows us to evolve. And once we've evolved, we get to another pressure place. These are all well defined. Now, this may look familiar. If you watch any other videos I've taken you through, this here actually maps very nicely with what we call the hero's journey. Now, when we look at the hero's journey, that's a nice story. It's won lots of Academy Awards for people who have followed it, but we want you to win an Academy Award. The Academy Award being the most amazing business that gets you everything you want in your life, the wealth you deserve, the time to do things in, on, and out of the business, and also to make an impact to yourself, your economic community, and the community at large. Now, the thing about this is that most people just go, okay, I kind of get the principle of this, but there are very specific places, and what we have codified is what we call the managing the growth from 0 to 125. We've actually mapped it to $1 billion, but I'll just take this because if I go higher than this, I'll blow most people out of the water. But what we're going to do is we know most people are going to fit into this category. If you look at this here, there are specifically eight of these pressure zones, all these pressure places, where we know there's different things that we need from right at the very beginning in the pioneering phase. And the pioneering phase is all around the why. And that's a business that's doing between 0 and $2 million. At that place there, what we're really doing here is we're really getting what we would call a proven concept. Some people stay stuck there. In fact, the vast bulk of businesses stay in this place right here. They don't ever evolve around this because their identity is attached very much to this place here. And what has to happen is for each one of these stages, the winning strategy that got you here is the losing strategy going on to the next stage. For example, here in the pioneering phase, you had to be the champion. You were the one marketing, selling, and probably fairly well involved in the delivery in some shape or form. But then we go to the next stage and we get into the what stage. We're in role duplication. That means that your role gets distributed amongst other people, and so do theirs. But your need for feeling validated, because in this first phase, what we know statistically, Harvard wrote an amazing review on this, is that people in this stage here who are technically brilliant at what they do, they get rewarded because of the actions and the activity. They're activity-based leaders. They're like the MVP of the team. The problem is when they keep doing that, they cap out. They're the guru with 1,000 helpers, and it all relies on them. So role duplication means they've got to enhance their skill to delegate, to effectively delegate and elevate. That's a whole skill. We've got other training on that as well. But in that place there, their need for significance, their need for value is validated differently. And what I mean by that, at this place here, what happens is your need for validation comes from value. In fact, from here up, it's value-based rather than activity-based. So you may not be putting in 8 hours a week, but it might be that one phone call to the most amazing partner that sets you up for everything else that you do going forward. And so that people's need to feel validated happens on this next stage. This is value-based. The other part that happens here is that when you're in this role duplication and beyond, is a lot of entrepreneurs, business leaders, they got successful because they were innovative. They were able to create new ideas. We know in our membership, the people we look after and that we mentor and coach, 76% have very high creative energy. They're good at creating things. The only problem that happens here is when their need for validation, and it's unconscious, this is the unconscious part of it that people aren't aware of, is that what happens here is they end up throwing hand grenades into the business because they can be Superman or Superwoman. Oh, I'll come and I'll save the day. And they feel validated. They get action items. They go, all right, get this done. I'm feeling good. I'm making progress. But up here, you don't get the same dopamine. It's kind of like, oh, I'm getting this hit of dopamine because at this place here, because I'm doing things activity. That's why the vast bulk, in fact, 97% of businesses do not ever transition across here. The vast bulk, because they're addicted to this place here. But each one of these steps from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 15, 15 to 25, 25 and above we go up here, have very distinct steps and processes that need to go through. Now, the important point out of this, we come back to the principle I've got here. There's a pressure. So if we look at there's a pressure. This is each one of these bands here is a pressure. Within each of these places here, there is a sweet spot. There is a sweet spot within each one of these that is the most amount of cash that you make in the business. And you kind of look at these spots here, and we've codified what those sweet spots. Now, if you're not in a sweet spot, then in between here, this is where the tension is. But rather than letting the tension be the thing you're fighting, realizing the tension is what's leading you into the next stage. And if you stay stuck here, if you get stuck into in a tension zone for too long, then what ends up happening is what we call a cash flow canyon. It's a business like life. It's either growing or, well, it's dying. Okay, so same thing. If it's not growing, if it's not expanding either in its revenue or its product innovation or its team or the way it's doing, then it will be dying. And then we know if someone gets stuck in a place for too long, there's a bit of a cash flow canyon. So what's important to understand that each one of these pressure zones in here, each one of these require a different shift, and the winning strategy, the first level, is opposite to the next one. And then it does a little bit of a tic-tac-toe, a little bit changes as you go forward. But it needs a different level of Identity. Each one of these cycles relates very specifically to each one of these. It's the hero's journey, and the best way to think about this is it's like a spiral. You go around this journey, then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one, and you go to the next one. That's just par for the course. That's how it works. What I want to do is to give you a clue, is to give you one of the best tools I've seen is to help you shaping up that identity. Tony Robbins is the guy who invented it, and he talks about a thing called the triad. And what the triad says is that any emotional state that we're in can be dictated by three things. And so if we draw out the triad like so, what are those three things? The three things that you can make sure help you as you're navigating going forward. So that as you're going through this stage and you go, what's the identity shift that I need to make? The first identity shift is, well, what is the physiology, how you physically stand? Like if you're about to win a gold medal, get it, like how you stand, shoulders up, how do you breathe? What's your diet? What's your nutrition? How's your body language? When you walk into a room, are you walking in at the level or the next level? Because the trick with this is that the business follows the leader. Say that again. For the business to evolve, the leader needs to evolve first. So part of that evolution is going, well, let's have you evolve first. We go through the physiology. The physiology is how you're showing up physically, how the team is perceiving you. The next thing is looking at the language. What are you saying to yourself? Oh, we've been around here before. Oh, it feels like Groundhog Day. No. Hey, we've got some great lessons and learnings. What are we doing around improving the language, the words that we're saying? What are the things we're doing to make sure that we speak into existence what we know we can achieve? And then the last part of this is then looking at the focus. So what do you focus? Where the focus goes, the energy flows. So what are you focusing on? All the things that went wrong? Or just going, hey, there's some pressure and tension. I need to evolve in a different area. Great, I'm focusing on what the next evolution is. The next evolution takes us to the next stage. So these three things are absolutely critical. And what I'd say is, I say this, like the action item I have for you right now is think of someone that you know that is in the next stage, that next pressure stage that we talked about. They're in that next stage, and how do they show up in their physical nature? How are they physically showing themselves? What are the words they're saying? What's the language that they're using? What are they focusing on? Are they focusing on the things that went wrong? Or are they focusing on the things that they did well and they want to improve or enhance on that? So these are the key pieces that can help you to evolve as you go to the next stage. When we look at this here and we look at these stages of growth, the key principles around this is that there are some guiding principles that can help you to go forward. One is understanding your state. So what I want to do is I want to take you through the keys that can help you to go forward. So you know, okay, well, when this starts happening, what do I need to do to change? So here are the rules to scale. This is what we call the Evolve scaling system. The first one is growth creates pressure. That's normal. The second thing is that the pressure reveals what the next evolution is required. The third one is we don't evolve the business. We evolve the leader, and particularly the leader's identity, and then the business flows. So these are the three rules. Now what we want to do is to go into the 4 laws that you want to keep in mind the whole time that you're doing this. The first law is each new level, the next level gives new physics, new dynamics that were different before. The second thing is your strengths expire at the next level. So what got you here won't get you there, as the saying goes. The third one is, when the leader evolves, the business elevates. The fourth one is, tension is predictable, but failure isn't personal. And that's a really important point, because if we're going through and doing this scaling using the evolved scaling method, what we know is pressure, tension, and there's an identity and new action. The thing is, though, every time you do a new action, it is not necessarily better to start with. In other words, when you're learning to do something new, you usually suck at it to start with. And then once you've got good at it, then you kind of move on. But most people go, I don't want to suck, because if you look at the stages, they were rewarded for activity-based actions. And so when you're actually doing those activities, or even the value-based activities, and you get a worse result, it's like, oh, I better give up. And then people stay, and the business stays in the same spot, and it never evolves. So these are some keys for you. And I want to say that the big action item out of this is just know that there's another stage for you. Whatever that next stage, that pressure is, use the pressure to go, great, how do I create my new identity using the triad, and that will help you to evolve as you go forward. Now, if you want some help on this, and if you're a business that certainly has got a proven concept, and you go, right, I want to have a pathway, I want it easier, I don't want to have to do it by trial and error, I want to actually have people that have already done the journey, then reach out to us, connect with us. We'd love to help you in this journey, because it can be a lot quicker, a lot faster than you think. Otherwise, jump on, build your triad. I can't wait to see your results. Please put on what you love about this in the notes below. Tell me what you love and what you'd like to see more of. I can't wait to see you win. I'd love to hear your success as well. Catch you later. Bye for now.